I warmly welcome you all once again, to all dignitaries who have been kind enough to have accepted this invitation of today's Intellectual Property Talent Search Examination Awards and IP Conclave. I would like to also warmly welcome at a later stage, of course, because we are yet to have guest of honors, Professor Anil D. Sahasrabudhe, Chairman AICT. I also would like to welcome Mr. John Kabeka from US Intellectual Property Office, Counselor, South Asia. We are going to have Dr. Ajay Garg, Senior Director from Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, soon with us. I would also like to welcome Dr. Sandeep Bansal, Advisor at DST, Ministry of Science and Technology. Dr. A.K. Mittal, he's an IP expert and advisor at TSTSI. Dr. Sandeep Singhai, he's a principal scientist at CSIR. Ms. Monica Magnuson, Vice President IPR Policy at Ericsson. I also would like to warmly welcome all the panelists for a panel discussion, which we are soon going to have after the award session and after the inaugural session, which will be moderated by Dr. Yashwant Dev, he's head at TIPAC, followed by keynote address by Urban Piolistad. He is head marketing and communications at Ericsson.
A startup or a new and emerging company, their very first IP, most of the time, is their trade secret protection. They're in stealth mode, they're doing research and development, trying to build the solutions to the problems that they're seeking to solve. And having strong trade secret protection is critically important. And that's where I believe governments can come into play, and where we help to play a role in to identify how they can best protect themselves with regards to keeping their sensitive business information confidential and ensuring it stays that way throughout their upscaling of their company. Lastly, it's clear that intellectual property has been tested throughout the centuries, but it has stood the test of time.
For the simple reason that the world is now transgressing from Industry 3.0 to Industry 4.0. If we look at the telecom space, it is graduating from the 4G to the 5G space. And here where the advantage India comes, because prior in the Industry 3.0 or till the 4G space, we were the mere users of technology. We were the consumers of IP rather than producers of IP. The Industry 4.0 and the 5G space gives us an opportunity to be providers of technology, the providers of IP, and thereby have a more level playing field as far as IP monetization is concerned. The Industry 3.0 was for better consumer experience, better quality of experience on the interconnected world. But Industry 4.0 is problem solving in all sectors of economy through technology. And here, India has a distinct advantage as compared to the technology creators for the last 30 years.
Innovations in India were open to everybody. It was a principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that whatever you do is for everybody. But then those were the very old times. But now, with the world trade and without any barriers and innovations happening, the industrial economy and the economies of the countries thus depend on the monetization of the intellectual property. The major potential of monetization of IPRs is actually getting them into the standards. So it leads us to two things. One is that we create awareness for standards along with awareness for IPs, IPR creation. And also, second part is that we drive research which is standards, which leads to standardization.
With its talent pool and rich heritage of producing technology innovators, India can become a leader in IP and innovation. We're extremely happy to notice that there are initiatives being undertaken for raising IP awareness and sensitization work at schools, colleges, customs, judiciary, etc., resulting in an increase in domestic patent footprint. At the same time, there's still a lot to be done to further promote a culture of IP creation at academic level. It's therefore encouraging that a significant number of MOUs have been signed by several educational institutes for this initiative. These colleges are, as a result, promoting IP awareness within their campuses. We believe it's important to nurture young talents and establish IP awareness and importance already at the educational level and encourage protection of innovation. This is the right way to invent. The right measures can foster innovation and boost economic growth of the country. Ericsson considers the optimization of protection and management of IPRs and timeliness to be among the priority goals for improvement of the Indian IPR ecosystem. In this context, it's extremely important that future generations are educated and understand the ramification of their decisions on society, industry, and the economy.
There is a great awareness about creating startups out of the innovation that the students are doing. And on our side, for the last 4 years, what we have started doing is Smart India Hackathons, which is continuously supported by the ministry as well as by the Prime Minister himself. That is where the open challenging problems of the government, of the society, of the ministries, of the MSME, of the industry, given to the young students, and they come out with out-of-the-box solutions, has proved that many of these solutions are now adopted by those agencies, be it DRDO, be it Health Ministry, be it Railways, be it small-scale and medium-scale industries, and also Education Ministry. So that means the support that we are providing in terms of even problem-solving ability to be created among students innovatively is showing the results which are being adopted by different ministries. There is a huge talent that exists in our country and we need to tap it.
Now, intellectual property is not a new phenomenon, obviously, and Ericsson learned the hard way in the early days of mobile communications, the importance of protecting our inventions and technological breakthroughs. We weren't really sort of on the ball right from the start, but since then, commercialization of our IP through patent licensing has enabled Ericsson to continuously invest around between 15 and 20% of our annual turnover into new R&D, new innovation. And as an important contributor to global standards, we are committed to make our inventions available to others on fair and reasonable terms. This is the so-called FRAND system. And this is truly a cornerstone of telecommunications industry, enabling the connected world we have today and all its benefits for people, business, and society. I think it's fair to say that in any society with ambitions, it becomes imperative for governments to foster a robust IPR regime that protects, encourages, and rewards inventors and IP holders.
So generally, the concept of matchmaking is for equal or with the equal system. But when we talk about IP sellers and IP buyers, basically it would be a match between the people who are having the problem and the people who are having the solution for that particular problem. And in some cases, you have the solution and you don't have a problem other side. So you have to create that perception that posing that particular problem, you will have ease in your life or day-to-day functioning. Most of the patents are not getting monetized, or very few % of patents are getting monetized or commercialized in this country. But I would like to mention here that the real value of IP is not really creating intellectual property rights and protecting intellectual property rights, but real value of IP exists in enforcement of intellectual property rights.
I would like to put in that yes, awareness culture, obviously we are trying, we have developed a couple of courses which are going to the academic institutions as in UG, PG or PhD. As I say, the moral sciences we used to study, we have imbibed those, trying to imbibe that kind of culture in students. Now, one thing is imbibing a culture of generating IP, but on the contrary, taking that IP or giving that IP a shape, be it anything, like you said, Dr. Pramod, be it patents, be it brand, be it copyrights, a lot of things they are to be involved. And first and foremost thing I say, that is ethics, then comes in the societal use, that how it is to be taken care of.
An idea going to research, going to prototype, going to pilot, going to commercialization, going to selling, going global, going intergalactic, let us say, all these steps are known. This is a solved problem. Humankind knows about it. But there are few people who have an idea but cannot articulate it very well. So to me, there is a kind of a finishing school. There is a curation studio. There is a dolling up house. There is a makeup artist that is required, so that the formation of an idea tangibilizes into an IP-able paper, quote unquote. Whether we call it a specification, whether we call it provisional, whether we take it to final, whether we file it under PCT, go to 131 countries, all that is known, everything. But what is not known is, how do I make my idea presentable? How can it be made into documentally complete?
For matchmaking, what is most important is building the trust. So both parties should have trust with each other. Then only this matchmaking can happen. And for that, what I have found over a period, that there has to be a common interest. Academic research interests are different and industry research are different. Industry is more applied or time-bound, immediate result kind of thing. So for getting this common result interest, probably co-creation is the area where industry and academics experts can work together to solve a problem. Many academics institutes are solving problem. They are trying to create a startup, but industry is not taking it up because they are probably not solving the problems that industry is facing today. So there has to matchmaking in the technology transfer, IP transfer, but there has to also matchmaking in identifying the relevant problem, that which problems are to be solved. And if that is done, then all that IP that is getting generated, all the technology that is getting generated will be much more commercializable.